Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're doing good. How are you doing? Hope you're doing all right. This week's been pretty crazy. It's going to continue to be. Next week looks a bit more, challenging in a different way, right? But, yeah, we're going to get right into it. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks for your support. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you are doing well. Yeah, this Mars-Saturn stuff's some pretty crazy stuff, isn't it? Especially with the square to Uranus right there, too. It's definitely hitting my chart pretty hard. I've got a few interesting confluences, all pretty much coming together right now in my different charts, right? Today I've got the Sun square Mars, which is pretty crazy for the moon in Aries on the same day. I've also got on my secondary progress chart Mars square Uranus, actually, and not exactly right now, but this year, so it's going on. And Venus is my time lord for Libra, where my Mars is. So it really makes you think, doesn't it? It really makes you think. Well, anyway, so much for that. Just to let you know kind of what I have going on. Astrology is really incredible that, let's say 11 planetary bodies can describe what happens in every single context at every time for everyone. Just a few simple bodies can describe all of this. It's really wonderful. Anyway, we got a decent moment here to record this. Virgo rising, Mercury on the angle. It's not bad, pretty good. Mercury direct, moon connecting to Mercury in a few minutes here. Oh boy, okay. So, we start out on Sunday with the moon in Taurus, and the moon will be connecting to the square to Venus and the square to Saturn, the conjunction to Uranus, and the square to Mars, all in the morning. So, Sunday morning looks like some pretty intense moods right off the bat, pretty much all before noon. We're just seeing more of this situation we've already talked about. We're probably going to be emotionally tied up in what this Mars, Uranus, Saturn deal was all about, And this will probably be one of the most intense moments for the way we feel about it, right, on Sunday morning. And that's really it for Sunday. We're probably just kind of steaming, kind of stewing on whatever that was on Saturday night. Maybe we see more of the manifestation of Mars square Uranus happening on Sunday morning. You hear that? It's pretty hilarious. Man, people have been, myself included, have been pissed today. I've been pretty angry. I've got Mars on my ascendant, so I'm already a very hasty sort of person by nature. So, and on my day chart, so Mars is my most difficult planet, so I definitely am feeling all this heavy Mars stuff coming up. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what Sunday looks like. The moon will be moving back into the last sextile before the new moon. So, the moon is decreasing in light. We're really letting go at this point. Hopefully, you can really get the work in before that with the last of this Mars and moon in Aries phase, right? But with the moon in Taurus here, I think we're going to be wanting to enjoy. We're going to be wanting to embrace, pleasure, comfort, money, all these things. We want to have them, right? Maybe in a different type of way, coming up against the restrictions, and probably people will be wanting to really enjoy that, it looks like, with the square to Mars. But that's so much for Sunday, and after that, you know, the moon is still building up the sextile and the trine to the outer planets, Neptune and Pluto. So, you know, things might get a little dreamier. I think it'll still be pretty hot the rest of the day coming off of Mars, so to speak, but, you know, probably just kind of an ordinary day after that on Sunday. Yeah, I feel like we didn't really talk about what that actually signifies on Sunday, but I feel like you already know since we've kind of been through this already, but I feel like this is like emotionally kind of where it peaks with that. But as we get into Monday, the moon is, just look at that, man. Looks like a wreck, honestly. But the moon is connecting to these outer planet configurations by the morning. So, I mean, really going to the extreme with the enjoyment, with the resources, with the money type thing, kind of maybe seeing things a little bit more rosy than they are. So be careful on Monday morning, as we want to kind of go to the extreme. And by the evening time, the moon will be moving into Gemini and picking up on this square to Jupiter, right? That's so much for Tuesday, but we should talk about the Sun-Uranus configuration and Venus connecting to the North Node. So that's kind of obscure, kind of these inner planets are connecting to these more obscure forces. Uranus being about modern technology and innovation, doing things different, making a break away. You know, since Mars has been so connected to Uranus, our personal energy is connecting to Uranus as well here now. So, you know, it makes me think that on a personal energetic level, we'll be able to make some progress on this Uranus and Taurus thing. Maybe people will be like FOMOing into something at this point. Maybe it's kind of the kind of energy it looks like, you know, with the moon connecting to with Venus connecting to the South Node. You know, we're kind of wanting to be more on the easy side of things, kind of, you know, feeling out both sides of what's being developed with the North Node and kind of where we've been with the South Node, right? And our value is really there with the Venus and Leo. But, you know, the kind of obscure forces, I don't really know exactly what to say about those, but Monday looks more like an in-between day. Nicer than not nice, I guess. We're kind of moving out of these hard configurations, except for with Venus. Venus will be moving into the opposition to Saturn there on Tuesday evening. But with the moon in Gemini, I think we're going to be wanting to perhaps, you know, be more social, be more outgoing, so to speak. Probably wanting to do it big with the moon there. But the Mercury is connecting to Neptune retrograde here. And the moon will be on the North Node there. So, I mean, it's kind of a callback to what the North Node has been doing and what it's continuing to do in Gemini. But, you know, I think that these next few days coming up to Tuesday are going to be a little bit extra dreamy, a little bit extra confused, wishy-washy, especially with Mercury. Mercury, even though he's direct in his own house, you know, we've got this good election for Mercury on Wednesday. Mercury has to go through this square to Neptune retrograde, so definitely be sure about the way you're seeing things, the way you're seeing your business going forward. I'm sure you've seen things kind of return to a more normal way with Mercury direct here. but it is sort of connected to a confusing environment for Mercury, right? People are freaking out, man. People are losing it right now. This Mars stuff. That white lady just said the N-word. Anyway, so yeah, it's Tuesday. You know, it's a Mercury-ruled time with the moon in Gemini. So, you know, I just think things are going to be more washed out, more confusing than we maybe want them to be throughout the day. And, you know, kind of getting overstimulated, overdoing things with the North Node there by the end of the day. So watch out about how you're doing Mercury things this day, because it could be considerably illusionary. But the moon will pick up on this sextile and trine to Venus and Saturn retrograde about the time that Venus opposes Saturn. So definitely, I want to say this because this is kind of something I've been thinking about looking at next year's mundane astrology chart. Venus will be besieged by Saturn and Mars, or really it's going to be, the order will be Mars, Venus, Saturn, and Aquarius, with about an orb of like 6 or 7, 9 degrees or something like that on either side total of Venus. So point being, definitely make sure you pay attention to what comes up here, because it will be very relevant for the entire, at least the next quarter starting this spring. So definitely watch out with that. Watch, you know, there could be like a wall coming between you and what you want, the way you want to enjoy things. We're more on the cold side here. It's like with the moon connecting so nicely to Venus and Saturn here, you know, we can really look for the good manifestation here. But, you know, we're really playing out this Venus-Saturn opposition, you know, not getting what we want, but kind of being in sync with that, which is kind of a weird thing, but I feel like we can look forward to that on Tuesday. But, you know, Tuesday is a really weird, chaotic day. You know, the moon is ruled by this Mercury square Neptune thing. So, not very clear indication about Tuesday, really. But as we get into Wednesday, the moon will make a connection to Mars there, and connect to Neptune and the conjunction to Mercury by the end of the day before it goes void of course. So, you know, continuing, you know, with these themes, you know, the way things are manifesting might be a bit more washed out, confusing, weird on this day. You know, Neptune kind of makes, with the moon, kind of like makes things flow into each other, especially with the square. People not paying attention, people on drugs, driving around and stuff like that. You know, it's just kind of the vibe on Wednesday. But, you know, the moon will connect to Mercury, and almost everything about this Mercury election is good, you know. Looks like a good moment. You know, throughout the day, you know, if you ignore Neptune, you know, there are some good opportunities for Mercury here, and Mercury talismans and so on. But as we get into Thursday, the moon will be going into Cancer in the morning, and then by noon connecting to the trine to Jupiter, and Venus will square to Uranus by about 2:30. And, you know, it's another thing where I don't really know what to say about that. Uranus can be the unexpected. Well, he always is the unexpected. So some kind of unexpected manifestation or turn of events with the way we value things. This week really has a lot of Venus energy and aspects, fateful sort of circumstances with Venus relating to the Uranus and Saturn deal, right? This is what I get for having my window open while I do this, but it's just goes to show you that astrology is real. Everything happens exactly the way the heavens describe it will, invariably. So yeah, Thursday, it looks good in a very large way because, the moon is getting that overcoming trine from Pisces. So I think, with the moon in Cancer, it's sensitive, nurturing, wanting to, defend what we have, defend that sensitive, gooey, emotional space that we all have, right? So, I feel like that's kind of what we'll be on about, but, there is this drive to enjoy things in, I think, a unconventional way, which, could be good, but we'll see about that. But as we get into Friday, all we have really is the new moon. So, new moon in Cancer. I kind of want to apologize for not showing you this view on this side here. It kind of makes things a little clearer, but anyway. So, the moon into Cancer, it just looks like some hours of, sort of nurturing as well as you can. Moon has almost no light. No light on the moon. It's going to be a new moon. Now, this new moon is opposite to Pluto and trine to Neptune, which is really interesting. The last new moons in Cancer that we've had have all been, eclipses. So it's interesting that it's not an eclipse, but it's, making this difficult aspect with Pluto. So, it's a new beginning in this sort of realm, this sensitive, nurturing space. But, the threat, I think, is very much on the horizon, right? With the Pluto opposition, right? Like, we're picking up on something that's in the future that's not pleasant. When the full moon comes around, we're going to see this Pluto thing again. So, it's a new manifestation of, or a new part of the cycle towards, where we find comfort and nurturing, right? But it's opposite Pluto and trine Neptune. So the way we're seeing things during this new phase might not be true. They might be idealized, and, there is this looming threat, is what it looks like to me, on the horizon. Right? So that's kind of what Saturday morning has, this moon in Cancer coming, I think the moon in Cancer likes the trine to Neptune. It can be very nostalgic and nice, but the opposition to Pluto, not nice, very not fun, representative of all our fears, and so on. So, people will be very sensitive, kind of maybe not talking about how they feel about whatever this is, but, it is there, and it is showing up in this new beginning cycle phase, right? So Saturday goes on, mostly moon is void of course on Saturday until he moves into Leo, where he'll be co-present with Mars. And that's mostly what we have for next week, is this moon, Mars, Venus co-presence. There's Mercury trine Jupiter, which looks very good for having a very big picture orientation, seeing things, the possibilities, especially towards next year, when Jupiter will be back in Pisces. And that's kind of what we have. Next week looks much nicer than this week. Definitely, though, be aware that this is the last week that we have this Mercury in Gemini energy, so, you know, if you have enough wisdom to make talismans, you know, it could be a good thing to do, to lock in that Mercury energy. But overall, you know, this week looks more about Venus coming up against these outer planet challenges, and the moon kind of being in that losing light and starting a new leaf with the new moon. So I hope that was interesting. Maybe not as, you know, we are dealing with more obscure forces this week relative to Venus, and I think that's the biggest thing I can leave you with for the most part. So expect there to be blocks, you know, expect there to be this desire to break through with what we value, really building up and coming to a head by Tuesday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of dealing with this this sort of deal. But, you know, and the other thing, main thing is, you know, building up towards Tuesday, we have this Mercury square Neptune for the final time. So just kind of be checking in with the way you're seeing things, especially towards and basically until Wednesday. Make sure that the way you're seeing things is really based in reality, right? And it won't be. It won't be. That's kind of what Mercury Neptune is telling us, is that it won't, because in an interesting way that I've learned recently of thinking about Neptune is that he's not really under the authority of Saturn, right? He's not within the bounds of Saturn's orbit, or Neptune and Uranus are outside of Saturn's realm, basically. So, you know, the way we're seeing things will not be, you know, according to order, structure, and so on. But we'll, you know, when Mercury comes up to the trine to Jupiter, we will be able to see those things, right? It'll kind of be a drawback to when Mercury was in Cancer last summer, I believe. You know, Mercury retrogrades were happening in water signs at that time, so we had the Mercury retrograde in Cancer. We got to kind of go back and look at, you know, those themes that came up for you at that time. But Mercury will be moving fast through Cancer, and, you know, we do have better moments next week, I think is what I'm trying to say. But, yeah, the Moon and Venus and the Sun are kind of all and Mercury, they're dealing with these obscure forces this week and coming up against the limitations, especially. You know, we have so much Neptune and Uranus action going on with the inner planets, and that's kind of outside of the realm of Saturn, really. But Venus is coming up against Saturn. That's the main thing. We already did this Mars opposite Saturn deal, and now Venus is doing the same, right? So expect the way you value things, the way that you want to, as if consume or enjoy things, you know, coming up against limitations this week. It's not that bad. It's just kind of frustrating in a different way. The Mars thing was very frustrating for a lot of people. I think it was more positive in some respects than people were expecting, maybe. I think it's a strong aspect to live through, or to pay attention to, because, I mean, we require challenges to grow in this world, right? If things were perfectly easy, then, you know, it would be like the times before the flood, you know. You know, things aren't like that anymore. Things are, you know, denominated by seasons and cycles of time now. So, well, I had one last thing to say about it. Oh yeah, that storm in British Columbia happened during the Mars-Saturn opposition. Pretty crazy. I'm sure I'll hear about that from you all. So I thank you all for listening. I praise God that He's given us these opportunities to look into His heavenly mysteries, and I pray that He will give us wisdom, understanding, and knowledge that we can profit and do good in Jesus' name. So with that, I thank you. My name is Henry Lawrence Harrison. You can always send me tips, which are very appreciated, to the links that are available on my page, and I appreciate it. So God bless you, and I'll catch you on the next one.